Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Senior Transition Helpers podcast, and along with me is my co-host Joel Sagner. And you look pretty today, Joel, as
Thank you.
always. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Ed Trotta. He's the executive director of Discovery Village, which is a senior living community, assisted living, and I believe memory care as well, in Palm Beach Gardens. And we thought we would talk a little bit about choosing the right community, some of the pros, some of the cons, some of the insider tips of what to look for. And so, Ed, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be
I'm,
here.
we are thrilled to have you here. And I'll give a little bit of your background. I'm not going to go into great depth here, but I know that Ed has been in the senior assisted living and community development, I would guess. You've developed communities for well over 20 years, and you're currently the executive director of Discovery Village in Palm Beach Gardens. What I'll say before we get to some questions is, Joelle and I had the privilege, really, of actually touring your community. And I left there, and Joelle did as well, very, very impressed. It's very rare you go to a community, everybody's happy. The residents, the people living there are happy. The service providers are happy. The staff is happy, and it's a happy place. I saw, the ability to go to the movies. You have a pool. There are just phenomenal, really, happy hour area. So, Ed, and I think you and I talked about this separately. I had my mom who passed away 12 years ago, but I had her in an assisted living community for 12 years, a manor care community. And there's definitely things that families need to consider when putting someone, making that transition, having them go from a home to a community. My mom had to go fast, right? Not everybody. Sometimes you're able to make a decision and shop, and sometimes you have to shop quick.
Right.
And she went from being very sick and almost dying to transition the facility, really, where she got rehab for 2 months, learning to walk again and eat again and everything else, to, thank God, being able to stay in and transition into an assisted living community. But tell us a little bit about Discovery Village, and tell us a little bit about, we'll talk a little bit about what to really look for.
Yeah. No, thank you. Great to be here. Um, Discovery Village or Discovery Senior Living at this point, has over the past several years grown dramatically as an organization to upwards of over 150 communities across the country. Uh, but here in the Palm Beach Gardens, we are about 7.5 years old as a community, and we're a standard assisted living license, serving assisted living and memory care residents. And it's, we're here to provide a lifestyle. We're here to provide and take away those burdens of home ownership after so many years of doing that, and give them, a lifestyle that's easier for them, that's provides socialization, provides engagement, take some of those household things away that take care of your housekeeping every week and your personal laundry. You have 3 meals a day. If something breaks, maintenance, fix it. So, the idea in doing this for so many years, it's still hard, as I'm sure you know, to really change the mindsets of what people think of when they speak of assisted living. And as I learned early on, getting into this industry, um, you know, successful aging is what I learned is possible at any point. And this is an environment that can provide the ability, or at least the services, to age successfully. It's not what many think it is in their own minds, and that's part of the challenge. I think we all agree when it comes to a transition. Um, as I learned, having the care services, having the oversight, and all the other accommodations and amenities we have, um, it's not being something taken away from you. We're actually trying to enhance your independence. Even though we talk and we say we're assisted living, we're still trying to, with what we do, um, promote the independence level you still have, rather than, if you're able to live in a community like Discovery Village, uh, instead of living at home. Many people uh, go into isolation. There's more risk because they're by themselves. More people are counting on families than ever before, which also becomes more challenging because families are busier than ever before. Some are living in 3 different states. Uh, and it's just, again, an environment to help and provide uh, successful aging, to create an environment for successful aging. I learned that years ago, as I said, and if you took two people of comparable age and health status, and one was living in an assisted community and the other was still living at home, there's evidence that the person in the community will age better, even though they're very comparable health wise and otherwise. So that's what we provide. We provide it in a very nice setting. I've said, and we'll say it probably many more times, that if you took a hotel, a country club, and a cruise ship, and you smack them all together and you add the care factors, that's really what we do.
It's, and it is, and we saw it firsthand. There's another dimension to this that I'm going to tell you. Everything you said is exactly accurate.
Mhm.
My mother, I guess you would have called her antisocial. She always liked to sort of have a pity party and tell everybody how miserable she was. But I snuck in a couple times into her community and saw she was having a ball. They had a singer there and she was singing with them. She loved the food. The chef and her were on a first name basis, but she didn't want me to know that necessarily. Okay. Which is fine. But the dimension, there's one dimension here that really is critical. Aside from the actual senior, the family. It gave me peace of mind knowing she's getting her medicine. She's getting the right medicine. She's
Right.
getting it at the right time. She's eating. Someone's checking on her. My mother had the help I've fallen, but I can't get up. Well,
Yeah.
she fell, she couldn't get up, but she wouldn't press the button because she was embarrassed for the neighbors in her house. And that was the clear line for me that her alone in a 4 bedroom house is no longer the right option.
Right.
Uh, and so, yeah, it is a wonderful experience for the senior and the resident, but it's also a wonderful experience for the family. And if you're living out of state, it's 100 times a better experience
Right.
because,
Absolutely.
you really have to be concerned. There are times when you just don't know what's happening. And I shopped for my mom. She didn't drive or, any of that. So what
Mhm.
you're saying is really, really accurate. One of the things that we find, and one of the reasons we started senior transition helpers is really when that transition occurs, how do we get rid of all the collectibles? Let's be kind and call it collectibles. Okay. And I just moved from Florida from Maryland to Florida 2 years ago, and we were in our house 30 years. I had to hire a dumpster, Ed. We got a commercial
Mhm.
grade dumpster to
Yeah.
literally come in the driveway and force us to throw out, things we
Mhm.
before thought were important, right? And we realized they
Exactly.
weren't too important. So, one of the things you have to consider is making that transition to a community, make it as burden free as possible. Take what you need, but
Mhm.
you know, we assist with that. We assist really also with one of the things we pride ourselves on is helping the family cover the investment in that transition, and oftentimes it's the home. And Joelle and I pride ourselves on having various solutions, not only from fixing it to buying it to selling it to cleaning it up, and assisting the family in really making that a smooth transition with a company focused on helping them with that home and making that transition to the community. So,
Right.
what are some things to look for in a community that would tell you this is a good community or maybe not so good?
or just a good fit for that particular person.
Sure, sure. And it's different for every potential resident. As you said, if you have 100 residents, you really have 200 because there's a family member tied to that person too. So you're looking through the eyes of two people actually, what the potential resident is looking for, but then again too what the family member and how they see it. Sometimes that's a slam dunk. Other times it's not. Um, and But again, I think the basics. You know, I was previously in the hospitality industry prior to senior living in a hotel industry, and one of the things that was always pivotal for hotel guests in general was, uh, is it clean?
Mm.
Do they feel the staff are friendly and professional? And do they have a good sense of safety and security? And that certainly applies here as well. I think, um, obviously, first impressions, the community has to present as it should, and staff, of course, these are things that people look for. Are they friendly? Are they personable? Do they smile? Are they seen engaging with residents? How do staff interact with each other? And is it obvious that there's a sense of safety with whatever features and services that we provide? It's you oftentimes you could have a beautiful, grandiose community, and the ultimate sense is when you walk in the door, do you feel that it has a pulse? Does it have a heartbeat? And it's something that people pick up on very quickly.
Mhm.
And I think you would agree. And you know, so you could have otherwise the building is bricks and mortar, as it's been said, but it's got to have a pulse, and that comes from within. And those are pretty much, I would say, the most key factors for a prospective resident and a family member. Of course, there's a number of other variables: location, proximity to family, cost, and things like that. But at the end of the day, if you took like communities on various levels, the one that they most likely will choose is the one that makes them feel welcome, makes them feel safe, and that it's obvious that there's good interaction, and there's a team and a staff there that is caring and professional.
Well, and as executive director, you set the tone for all of that at Discovery Village. So
True.
it's off to you because when we walked in, Joel, we walked in and there was a happy hour area, a bar. There was a facility to swim in and get some exercise. I don't know, it wasn't a lap pool, but it was,
The therapy pool we have, yeah.
yeah, therapy pool. And then we could go upstairs and go to a movie theater. And there were regular shows, which I believe the residents choose the films. And then we looked across the hall, and there were a bunch of ladies playing cards and having a good time with each other in the afternoon.
Right.
So it gave us that vibe of, wow, this isn't, these are people who are enjoying being where they are, have
Hmm.
every incentive to come out of their room and be social,
Mhm.
and actually fun things to do to
Right.
occupy the day. The rooms themselves were actually very, very nice. Each of the units was very, very attractive and well thought out. and clean, very, very clean, which is a hallmark. So Joelle, do you have any thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, if somebody came to your Discovery Village, but it wasn't a good fit for them, do you work in connection with the rest of the other Discovery Villages around the area?
We do. At the end of the day, we want to, from an industry perspective, still be helpful
Mhm.
to that prospect, to that senior, and to that
Right.
family. It will ultimately benefit us by still serving the senior population, even if that person doesn't, or for any reason this isn't a fit. We've done our due diligence on a fiduciary level that we can be proud of and we can be respected for. And that effort can also still benefit us because people will remember that,
Sure.
and they might or probably know someone else that would be looking and said, this wasn't good for my mom, but I think you should really go and see Discovery Village, Palm
Right,
Beach Gardens, because I think this is a really great thing that you should check out. So that's the other positive that can come out of
Mhm.
that.
Absolutely. And then I always like to ask, because I think people want to know, is there a success story that you want to share with us?
Ah, gee. Well,
I'm sure you have many.
well, I guess the overall success story from, I guess, cumulative, if you will, is seeing the efforts of both staff, management staff, and residents coming together, developing relationships that ultimately really create what I call a sense of community, not just a community, but uh, having those relationships where there's communication, there's input from residents. I've benefited greatly in my career from residents that genuinely, I should say, uh, wanted to do something and have an impact because this is their community too, and they like to see it be successful. And getting that free advice from folks that have had a long history of careers and other experiences that have helped me hone my skills by listening to them. That's really the ultimate success story as far as I'm concerned. That I guess you could say they paid it forward because it was just what they wanted to do for this time in their life because they still wanted to see a successful community and how they can still contribute, which only makes them feel even better and can contribute to their own
Mhm.
positive lifestyle because they feel that they've made a difference. And that combination is extremely powerful.
I love that because that is definitely something I felt when we came to your community, that people felt ownership and a sense of community and a sense of this is my space, which I think is really important for people to hear. Because I think sometimes people think they're going to go into independent living and then they don't have control. But
Mhm.
that's not the case at all, and especially not at your community.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You've
And
got
if,
to you've got to build those relationships and with the family members. It goes, of course, again, it goes back to the adult children, the families, more so today than ever before. I'm sure you agree.
oh,
And
yes, I moved down here to
Absolutely.
live with my parents and help them stay as independent as long as possible. So
right,
yes, I totally understand.
right.
If somebody, let's say somebody were in the process of, they see that their parent needs a different level of care, needs to go into either independent living or assisted living of some kind, and they're just in the beginning stages, what would you recommend they do to get started?
Well, the best thing to do is just again do your homework. Most families and or prospective residents we meet and work with they're looking at anywhere from at least 3 to 5 different communities. And of course, I'd like to say, well, don't go any further, stay right here. We're the one. However, that's the best advice, is to do your homework, do your research, visit communities. We're all functioning and surviving now on reviews. What are people saying about us, right? Everyone today, it's social media impact and those type of platforms. So best advice is take your time. If it's need driven, yes, that might have to happen, quicker. And of course, that's a slightly different situation. And that's where recommendations and referrals come in even more, and your reviews, because people have to make a quicker decision, Brian, as you said as well. But definitely doing your homework, and that puts us in a position to make sure we're doing our homework, because we know today more than ever, this is a well-educated consumer who's doing just that. They're doing their research first, and they're coming in already prepared with those questions and with those specifics that they're looking for.
Okay,
Yeah, that's awesome.
great.
I mean, that's really sort of why Joelle and I started this podcast, to really, have guests like you, Ed, that really people can fill in the blanks, because there aren't very many central clearinghouses I have found in this space,
Right. Yeah.
and that's sort of what we're trying to accomplish. But I truly am thrilled that you were here and shared with us, and that Joelle and I had the ability to tour your community, and loved it, by the way. So if you're watching this, we were your eyes and ears, and certainly you can schedule your own tour. But Ed, how will they reach you to schedule a tour of the community or get more information?
Best way is to visit our website at discoveryvillages.com /Palm Beach Gardens. And you'll see an opportunity there to put information in, or to get some information, which goes through our marketing center that vets those calls and then forwards that information to our sales counselors here for us to then follow up and talk one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, everyone's needs are a little bit different. And, I can tell you again firsthand, I almost stayed for that happy hour. That looked like a lot of fun. The people were very happy waiting for it.
Right.
So,
And I'll mention, just appreciate both of you, as we have our downsizing event coming up on the 21st of March, which you both will be there to speak and present. And that's going to be a great thing for us to have here at the community, for those in that position or in a period of transition at whatever state that might be. So thanks, and look forward to that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it as well. And again, you're right. It's all about knowledge and making the right decisions. All right. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Ed. And thank you, Joelle.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We'll be back again next week.
Take care.
All right.
Have a good week.